So for this part, you're gonna want your triangle, and you're also gonna want a ruler, and you're gonna need your needle tool in order to cut this out, all right? Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start by making a straight edge, make it as wide as we possibly can, okay? And we wanna make sure that it is nice and square, and so that's where the triangle comes in. Use the 90-degree side, okay? We're gonna go ahead and cut this out. At this point, it's not that critical what size we're making that part, but we're gonna take that away, and then we're gonna cut a 90-degree angle here. What this is gonna do is this is going to give us two straight edges that we know that are consistent. We know that that's a flat edge, and we know that that's a flat edge, so that when we make our measurements, we can measure things out accordingly, okay? So what I wanna do is, when I measure out the width of my rectangle, because you can see the start of the two sides of the rectangle, we're gonna cut out this side, and then we're gonna cut out this side. The width of my rectangle is going to determine the height of my mug, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and make this consistently the same size for all 4 of my mugs because we're making a set. The minimum height requirement for your mugs is 4 inches tall, okay? And that'll give you about the size of a coffee mug roughly for what we're making. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a little bit bigger than that because 4 inches is just the minimum. I like a little bit taller mug, so I'm gonna measure out 5 inches. I'm gonna do that in a couple different places. Okay, so that when I go to make my cut, okay, I'm gonna use that long side of my triangle, line those up, and those 3 points will usually give me a nice straight line. Press that down. Okay, always make sure that we put our triangle on the piece that we're cutting out, okay? So this we can get rid of. Save this slab for later. We can use that for handles. We can use that for a couple other things. We can just put it off to the side for right now. So now I've got 3 sides of a rectangle, okay? So you guys can kind of see that a little bit better. So I've got 2 long sides, and then I've got this side here, all right? Now, technically, I don't really need to measure how big this is as long as I can then go ahead and roll this around my tube at least once. So if I go ahead and just cut that off there, I should have more than enough clay to make one mug, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and take my newspaper, and I don't need that much. I'm just gonna go ahead and tear that down the side. And then I like to use the machine cut side, not the side that I tore down here at the bottom. I'll use the machine cut side. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take that and I'm gonna wrap it around the tube. Now when I do that, I use that machine cut side on the machine cut side of my tube that I've got here, my plastic tube, and I'm wrapping this around. Now, if I don't wrap this with newspaper, what's gonna end up happening? Well, the clay is gonna stick to that tube, and then I would never be able to get that off, and that's gonna be a lot more difficult. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this sideways, set this like so, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and place, notice I didn't use any tape, I don't need to, I'm just gonna hold that there. I'm gonna place the side that has where the end of it is, I'm gonna place that down on my clay first. Make sure that the edge is equal with the edge here, straight as we can, okay? Then I'm gonna go ahead and kind of with my fingertips down here, okay, I'm gonna slowly start to peel that up so that now the slab is wrapping around my tube and I'm just rolling it right along with it, okay? I'm gonna come all the way around until my slab actually touches the slab yet again, okay? And what that's gonna do is that's gonna put a little indentation. I'll turn it around so you guys can see how this is working, okay? So you can see this little line here, hopefully, that shows me exactly where I need to cut it. So what I'm gonna do is take my needle tool, cut along that line nice and straight, put that aside, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and finish wrapping this around. Now this is a little bit bigger than I need it to be, so I'm gonna go ahead and trim that off just a little bit, straight as I can, nice and even. What I want is, I want the ends of my clay to match up. And so you can kind of see that. And I'm gonna hold it up a little close, okay? If you cut it a little bit short, it's not the end of the world, okay? So this is a little bit on the short side. So what I can do is, ever so gently, I'm gonna put this to the side, okay? And I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it at all. I'm just gonna roll it a couple of times like this, and that will actually stretch the slab so that when I put this on here now, this lines up a lot better. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna press this so that that seam starts to come together. Okay, and then I'm gonna go grab a modeling tool and I'll finish off the rest of it.